Siona God, hello all. Oshisahiya, good evening, and Wado, thank you for watching. So this is day 47 of Transformation of America, the true life story of a CIA mind control slave by Kathy O'Brien with Mark Phillips. And we're going to start off by reading yesterday's in chapter footnotes and then head into chapter 20, New World Order of the Rose. So the first footnote from yesterday is Education 2000 was designed to increase our children's learning capacity while destroying their ability to critically think for themselves. You can learn more about Education 2000, also referred to as America 2000 and Global 2000, through reading Educating for the New World Order by B.K. Eakman, E-A-K-M-A-N, published by Halcyon, Halcyon, House, ISBN number 0-89420-278-2-344-1000, and A Critique of America 2000, an educational strategy by Kathy, K-T-H-I, Simmons, S-I-M-O-N-D-S, published by Citizens for Excellence in Education. Number 2 says, anytime I was taken to see Byrd, B-Y-R-D, I was deliberately reminded of his name, in parentheses, Robert C. Byrd, and its alien mirror reversal, Seabird, S-E-A-B-Y-R-D, as a triple bind lock-in. Number 3, Bill Bennett, who was still acting as chairman of the National Endowment of the Humanities in 1984, was designated, in parentheses, tapped to become U.S. Secretary of Education through his allegiances to George Bush and the New World Order. In 1985, Reagan, in parentheses Bush, officially appointed Bennett as Secretary of Education. Apparently, Byrd considered my need to know Bennett as Secretary of Education pertinent to my role in the Global Education Project. Number 4, Jesuit/NASA-based whale and dolphin programming suggests that water is a mirror to other dimensions and is the means by which aliens have mixed with our population. Number 5, if this were so, why did he have to audibly tell me? Okay. I don't know where that was at. Audibly tell her what? Anyway, chapter 20, New World Order of the Rose, still feeling drugged from the programming session instilled in me by Bill Bennett at the nearby Goddard Space Flight Center. I attended a White House cocktail party later that night as instructed. Dressed to order, I wore a slinky black dress that gathered at one hip, decorated in rubies, with a red rose barrette in my hair. The chief called for her. My Secret Service escort told the butler as he left me at the door. The lights were dim and the air was formal. As the butler led me through the unusually large crowd of people, he released my elbow, aiming me in the direction of then President Ronald Reagan. As I walked through the crowd toward Reagan, I saw familiar faces associated with the Order of the Rose. Across the room, Bill and Bob Bennett were laughing with Dick Cheney. The governor of Pennsylvania, Dick Thornburg, Thornburg, was engaged in conversation with Senator Arlen Specter. Within the farthest reaches of my expanded peripheral vision, I saw George Bush talking with his UN confidant, Madeleine Albright. Knowing I could see him as though I had eyes in the back of my head, Bush subtly signaled me to join them. You know Madeleine Albright, Bush began, expertly using terminology from previously instilled Catholic Jesuit beliefs. He continued, she's the Reverend Mother of all sisters, and in parentheses, that's slaves. She is so close to God that an order from her is an order from him. Albright snickered, apparently impressed with Bush's witty manipulation of program verbiage. She rose in the UN through me to implement the New World Order peace process. Albright said to me, I hear you're a world, in parentheses, world, W-H-I-R-L-E-D, peace. Who told you that? Bush demanded. Larry Flint for her stint in Jamaica, she quickly explained. Bush threw up his hand in apparent disgust at the idea of sex relating to someone with 2 digits in their age. Spare me, he said. That's my job, Albright said matter-of-factly with a smile of pride. She shooed me away condescendingly saying, I'll see you tomorrow at the OAS, in parentheses, Organization of American States office. Now you run along and go play. Noting that her non-specific orders left me unable to determine which way to turn, literally she aimed me back in the direction of Reagan. Reagan was dressed in a dark navy blue suit and red silk tie. His red rosebud boutonniere instantly triggered me into a Jesuit Order of the Rose sex slave mode. Well, hello, kitten, Reagan said, blowing his cognac breath in my face as he bent over to kiss my hand. Uncle Ronnie, I said, sexually responding as conditioned. Reagan turned to the man beside him and said, Brian, this is one more of those benefits of the New World Order I was telling you about. Kitten, this is Brian Mulroney, Mulroney, Prime Minister of Canada. The connotations of my childhood experience with former Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Trudeau, suggested that Mulroney was Jesuit, as did the motto I was operating in. He, too, was wearing a red rose boutonniere, signifying his involvement and commitment to the Order of the Rose. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir, I said as I extended my hand. The pleasure is mine, Mulroney said as he kissed my hand. Please call me Brian. Yes, sir, Brian, I responded, my brain still whirling with the NASA designer drugs. Chuckling but insistent, Mulroney reiterated, I'm not a sir. Reagan jumped in. He is a prime, and prime is underlined, minister, which means he is more important than your average minister, and certainly more important than any sir. Brian is my friend. Oh, Brian, I said, finally understanding. O'Brien is her father's name, Reagan told Mulroney. She is of Irish descent and hails from Michigan. Brian turned to me. I've been in your neck of the woods here recently in one of my favorite getaways on Mackinac Island. Mackinac Island was her launch point into the project, Reagan explained, in terms used by those familiar with mind control operations. Mulroney apparently was aware of mind control state and leered at me as though I were merchandise. Reagan noticed his interest and proceeded to function in the capacity of a pimp. I highly recommend you take her along with the rest. She is an excellent game piece for you to use in any position, and there's scrutiny. Her head is in the ethers, and come tomorrow she wouldn't know you from the man in the room. I'll give you the keys later. Expertly using Order of the Rose signals and triggers, Mulroney said, just give me the key to your heart, and she's mine. You are wise in the ways of the world, Reagan commented. I have to be on top of things. It's a new world order, and Mulroney said matter-of-factly. As a guard led me away, I heard Reagan tell Mulroney, you will be on top of the world soon. I was searched by uniformed Canadian bodyguards and pointed in the direction of one of the White House's many bedroom suites. When I opened the door, I saw 3 blonde sex slaves undressing and preparing the bed, one of whom was my close friend and Senator Arlen, Arlen, Spector's, Spectors, slave. I excitedly called my friend's name. What are you doing here? I asked as we hugged each other. Small world, she said, as she always did when we were thrust together in various places for prostitution and or pornography. The universal term was often used among those familiar with the small world Disney developed a mind control program. I hugged my friend. Wow, it's a small world. I'm so glad you're here. I had no comprehension of our predicament and could not see beyond the moment. Hell, girls, it is a small world. Mulroney entered and strode across the room, tossing his coat on a chair and loosening his tie. Watch it get smaller and smaller as we rocket further and further away. He slipped out of his shoes, suspenders, and pants while he continued his hypnotic metaphor, soaring through the sea of the black space. As the world gets smaller and smaller and smaller, then sinks into the black sea of space. Removing his boxer shorts, he announced, I brought you here for a purpose, and proceeded to access our sex programming. In retrospect, I know it was no coincidence that my friend and me were brought together to satisfy Brian Mulroney's perversion for mind-controlled slaves. Identically mirror-programmed, we operated in unison. The delicate red rose tattoo on my friend's left wrist signified her enslavement to the New World Order, and New World Order is in parentheses, so it says to the Order of the Rose, to which Mulroney belonged. My friend and her young daughter reportedly were often transported across the U.S.-Canadian border at Niagara Falls for prostitution to Mulroney. The sexual abuse of her precious child was used as a trauma base to maintain control of her mind, just as Kelly's abuse traumatized me. Mulroney had previously accessed sex programming at Niagara Falls, my friend and me, along with our daughters, to satisfy his sanctioned perversions as though it were business as usual. Had I been capable of connecting events, I would have felt enormous relief that our daughters were not forced to participate in his sexual assault this time. Mission complete. I slipped on my dress and prepared to leave. Mulroney pointed to me and cryptically said, I'll be seeing you around. Maybe I'll see you in Mackinac. May, and then it says, it's underlined B, somewhere in time. In 3 lines, Mulroney expertly tied the immediate moment to childhood cues and current Mexican NAFTA operations, as well as prepared me for my next encounter with him on Mackinac Island. And I'll read the footnotes really fast. Number 1, the Order of the Rose was an emblem of those ushering in the New World Order. Orders from the Rose were orders from George Bush. Number 2, Reagan first introduced me to UN Ambassador Madeleine Albright as my mentor in Jesuit operations in the Caribbean. Madeleine Albright is a saint, Reagan told me, forming my perception of her, the Mother Teresa of the Caribbean. Number 3, while I was in Jamaica under Albright, In parentheses, via Bush's instruction, Larry Flint photographers took advantage of my being there to use the picturesque Dunn's River Falls as a backdrop for pornographic photos to be used in Hustler. Number 4, Reagan's red rose triggered a sexual mode usually used to compromise/blackmail dignitaries and lock them into loyalty to the Order of the Rose. And tomorrow we'll be on chapter 21. Don't go hang, till we meet again. Love you, mean it.